Hi, what's going on everyone, and welcome to your favorite channel. And in this one, I'm going to be building a VTU app, and VTU simply means a virtual top-up, which the inspiration for this is just to build an application that one can actually use to sell recharge cards, okay? The regular top-up or the VTU dealers along the street. So you can build, it's possible to build a VTU app with a Flutterwave. So I looked at that documentation and I saw that it was really very simple, and it's really a very lucrative business that one can venture in. Any amount of a recharge card that you sell, you get 3% out of it. And they also have some other bill payments, like being able to sell power, talking about our utility bills and all of that. Okay, you can even venture into things like remitter and the likes. So they have those things in their API, and I just want to take a look at the recharge card sales part of it. That's the Airtime sales. So I created this little application that can help us, send recharge card to anybody that wants. Or you can use the app, just be at a front store, and when people request for recharge card, you can just ask them for their phone number. You go ahead and enter their phone number here, and I'm talking about the amount right here. Then enter their phone number, and once you click on top up, it's going to go ahead and then credit their line immediately. And they also have this API to work with data. Let's say for instance you want to start dealing in data or selling data to your customers. You can also build that up with a Flutterwave. Okay, without wasting much time, let's go ahead and test this application. But before we do that, I just want you to understand that this one is just based on recharge card sales, but not what is it called, data. Okay, we're not selling data on this platform. Maybe in the future we could build something that has to do with sales of data, but for this one, it's strictly meant for just selling of a recharge card. So let's say that a customer comes to you. If you have this even hosted online, you can even be walking on the street, and when you hear people asking for or looking for where to buy a recharge card, you can just collect the money and credit them immediately. It's VTU. I know that most of us already know what VTU is. So let's go ahead and test the application. Here says enter Airtime amount here. So let's say for instance that I'm going to go ahead and credit let's say 100 naira, and I build the application based on naira. If you are in Kenya, United States, or any part of the world where you are, I'm going to, as I explain the program, you're going to see where you have to modify the stuff so that you can also sell internationally. Okay, so now the next thing that I want to add right here is to go ahead and add I'm going to go ahead and add my own phone number right there. So this is going to be 07047164748 right there. And if you go ahead and hit top up, that's going to go ahead and credit that particular line with 100 naira. Alright, and that went successfully, and it says success, as you can see, and then it says you have been credited successfully, and the reference to your transaction is this transaction reference that you're seeing right here, which is the same thing that you can also see on the URL right here. Okay, so that means that really went through. And for instance, let's say that payment did not really go through. Let's go back to the index page again, and let's do something that is wrong and see how is it that is going to redirect us to the failed page. Because if the transfer or the payment did not go through, it's supposed to redirect us to the failed page, not the success. So it did went through, and that is why it's really displayed the success message. Alright, we're wasting much time. Let's go back and try it again. So if we go back to top up. Alright, so to test the failure part of it, let's say that we are going to purchase a recharge card of 5 naira or anything less than that, because I think that MTN does not really sell any recharge card that is less than amount of 50 naira. So I think they sell from 50 naira or 10 naira and above. But let's go ahead and put 5 naira right there. And if you are in Kenya or any other part of the world, you can really just try and find out the least amount that your network really sells. But my network, which is MTN, sells 10 naira and above. They don't sell anything less than that. So let's go ahead and put my phone number again, and we should get a message. It's going to redirect us to the failed page. Let's click top up. And as you can see, it took us to the error page, and it says minimum amount for this bill is 10 naira. Okay, and that is what I expect it to be. Okay, so I do have some money in my account, but what I'm requesting is too small. They don't sell anything less than 10 naira. That's why it's showing me this error. Okay, so if we go back, let's say for instance I take away the money that I have within Flutterwave account, and if I request to buy any recharge card again, it's still going to redirect me to this failure page and tell me that I have insufficient account. Let's test that and see how it's going to work. So let's go back to the index page and let's refresh this page. All right, so I've taken some money away from my account. So let's say, for instance, I do not have any money within Flutterwave. And if we go to, let's say we want to purchase a recharge card of 100 naira, and with the same phone number again, if you hit top up, and that is going to redirect and it's going to tell us that we have an insufficient amount in our account. All right, so that really went through. It checked our account and discovered that we do not have enough balance for the amount that we want to recharge, and it says insufficient funds in your wallet. Okay. So that is just how the application really works. If you get this particular page, it means that transaction did not really go through. And if you get the other message which I have shown you talking about the success page, that means that did went through. And they really send the recharge card instantly to the person or to the phone number that you're sending that to, and they get alert instantly. Okay, so that is just how the application basically works. And if you don't know where to really fund your account, I'm still going to show you where to fund your account within Flutterwave as we move along. Alright, so I think that the next thing that we need to do now is to just log on to our Flutterwave account and check for these transactions that just went through. I think it was only just one that went through. So if you are logged into your Flutterwave account right now, from the left hand side of the page, just click on balance and then click on balance history, and I think you should be able to get the balance history from here. And to explain this, if you look at this place now, there is a plus sign right here. A plus sign means the commission that you gain from selling a particular recharge card. So I just made 3 naira selling that particular one that just went through, talking about this one. So, but the one that has a minus sign means the money that has gone out from your account. Okay, so I did have about 408 something naira, and I sold a recharge card of 100 naira, and that's why it has minus right here. So this 100 naira left my account, and this is the phone number, as you already know, this is the phone number that was sent that money to just now, this particular phone number. Okay, and that is just that. So this red sign, or the one that has minus, means what you sold out, and your commission is this one that has green, which has a plus sign in front of it. So we really gained the 3 naira from selling to this particular line. Okay, and the amount that was sold to it was 100 naira. So that is it. I really get that. Then before we go ahead and do some other things, let's say, for instance, that you want to, let's say you want to top up your account. The way that you bundle your account or add money to your wallet is to just if you go to this tab, make sure that you're on balance, and if you go to this balance tab, you should be able to see a top up button right here. All right, and once the page loads, if you look at the top left right corner of this page, you should be able to see this top up. So once you click on that, it will guide you through the process of adding money to your wallet, so that people can purchase or recharge cards and data and any other kind of bills that is sold on this platform from this place. Okay, and the lowest you can really add is just 100 naira. You just have to bear that in mind. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do right now is to go ahead and then create a folder for this application, so that we can see how is it that we can put that together. Alright, so I'm on my C drive right now. I'll go to XAMPP or exam, go to htdocs, and the first one was called I think we'll call that top up, which is right here, this one. So we're going to create a new one. We'll give it a new name. It's not going to be called top up this time around. And let's go ahead and call this, let's call it something like Airtime. Let's go ahead and call that Airtime app, like that. Let's just go ahead and call that Airtime app. And what we're going to do right now is to go ahead and open it up with our Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to right click on that and say open with VS Code right there. And that goes ahead to open that in VS Code. And let's close this out. And let's go ahead and create our files right here. So the first one we need is going to be index.php. Go ahead and open that up, and we need another file which we're going to go ahead and call success.php. Open that up, and the last one, or the next one, is going to be called let's call that fail.php. And we need a folder. I'm going to create a folder right there, and I'm going to call CSS. And within that particular folder, what I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and create a file within this CSS folder. So this is going to be called a style.css. that is going to hold our CSS files. Alright, so let's go ahead and close all of these files, close them out, and let's just leave only index for now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and generate the HTML boilerplate for our index. Alright, so this is the HTML boilerplate. So what we need to do right now is go ahead and include the title right here. Alright, so let's go ahead and call that top-up app with Flutterwave, and we can go ahead and brackets to include something like let's call that Airtime sales app, just like that. That is going to be the title. So right here we're going to go ahead and then create let's go ahead and create a section right here. So let's say that the section is going to have a class. So let's just say section is going to have a class that we are going to call, let's say we'll call this container. We're going to use to hold everything together. And let's close the section right here. And within this section, let's go ahead and maybe create something like header right here. So I'm going to just say header, and let's close out the header right here. And within this header, I'm going to go ahead and throw in let's go ahead and create our H1 right there. So this is going to be H1, and within this H1, let's go ahead and say top-up, or call that a VTU app using Flutterwave. We probably should have copied that from here. So let's say just going to be using Flutterwave like that, and we can go ahead and close out our H1 right here. And that is it for the H1. I think the next thing that we need to do right now is to get out of this header, and let's try to create the form down here. Alright, so let's go ahead and create our form. First of all, let's throw in our form tags right there. So this is going to be action, and that is going to be empty strings. That means it's going to use the same page to process the file. And we're going to just go ahead and set the method to, of course, that's going to be set to post, because we want to send everything securely. And let's go ahead and close our form right here with FORM. And within these form tags, we're going to go ahead and start creating the form inputs. So the first one that we need is going to be, let's just say input type is going to be, this is going to be called number. And I'm getting out of that place, we're going to give it that a name. So let's say that the name is going to be called amount. And once we get out of that place, we need to create our placeholder. So let's go ahead and say placeholder, and let's say the placeholder is going to be enter Airtime amount here, just like that. And we're going to also have to create a value, but right now I'm going to just go ahead and set the value to nothing. So I'm going to set that to be equal to nothing, just like that. So let's go ahead and then close this, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this line and paste it one more time. So this is going to be pasted down here, and we're going to change some certain things right here. Alright, so let's go ahead and change the type from number to tel for phone number, and this is really cool for HTML5. And let's change the name from what it is right now. Instead of amount right there, this is going to be called a number. And for the placeholder, we're going to just say enter the phone number to be credited here. So we'll say enter the phone to be credited here, just like that. And the last thing that we're going to need right now is to go ahead and provide a submit button for what we want to do. And to create that submit button is really simple. It's going to just have to be almost the same thing. Alright, so let's go ahead and enter our submit button right here. So this is going to be input type, this is going to be called submit, and the name is going to be called let's call this top-up. And for the value, which is what people are going to be seeing, let's go ahead and call that top-up now. And that is just that. So if we, alright, so that is just that. So if we go ahead and save now, and if we go back to our browser, let's go ahead and then let's close the former one, let's close this out, and on the new tab, what we're going to do right now is to go ahead and then access that file. And to access this, we're going to just say localhost / we call that Airtime app. So let's go ahead and access the file, Airtime app. And this is how it should be looking right now. It absolutely looks very ugly, but we're going to do something to it within our CSS. So let's go back to our development environment and see how we can work on that within our CSS. Alright, so to work on our CSS right now, let's go to the CSS folder and open up the CSS file, and we're going to start working on the CSS from here. Alright, so the first thing that I would like to do right now is to cause a general reset on my Pandora margin, and to do that is really very simple. What I'm going to do right now is to enter asterisk right there, and I'm going to go ahead and then first of all I'm going to zero out my margin. So this is going to be padding first of all, so this is going to be 0, and the next one is going to be my margin, which I'm going to go ahead and also zero out right away. Finally, what I'm going to do on the reset right now is go ahead and set the box sizing to border box. So I'm going to just the box sizing, and I'm going to go ahead and then set that to border box like that, and I'll come out of that place. Then the next thing that I would like to work on now will be my body. So I'm going to just say body, and within this place I'm going to go ahead and change my background right now. So let's say that I'm going to use a background color let's say we're going to use blue. This is going to be blue violet, rather this is going to be blue violet. And the next thing that I need to do is to send the font family for the body. So this is going to be font family, and I'm going to just say, of course I'm going to just say in quotation, this is going to be Times New Roman, and we can come out of that place, introduce a comma, and still set something like let's say Times, comma, and the next thing that we're going to set now will be the serif, like that. And what this means is that if this one doesn't work, if the browser does not really understand this one, it can understand this one or this one. So it's just basically going to render any of the following, okay? But if it understands this in the first place, it's going to go ahead and render that one as the font family. And then the next thing that I would like to do right now is to go ahead and set the font size. So let's say that the font size is going to be, let's go ahead and set that to be equal to 18, or let's set that in percentage. This is going to be 187%, just like that. And that is just what I want to do on that particular body. So the next thing that I would like to work on right now will be the container. You remember the container, let me show you that. I'm talking about this particular container right here that we created before now. We're going to work on that within our CSS right now. And to work on it, we're going to just say .container. That's going to be .container. And the first thing that I would like to do to that is to change the background. And let's say that the background is going to be white. So I'm going to give a white background to that place. And the next thing that I would like to do right now is to go ahead and set the width. So let's say that the width of that particular container, which really encloses where the form is, let's go ahead and set the width to, let's say 60 pixels. Percent. Let's set that in percent this time around. And I'm going to go ahead and set the margin to auto. In fact, before I set that margin to auto, I just want you guys to take a look at the appearance so far so that you see how that is looking. So if we refresh this page, okay, that's not showing off. That's probably because we have not linked our CSS to our index. So let's go back to our index, and down here let's go ahead and link our CSS. So if I say link rel, this is going to be style sheet, and done. The next thing is going to be the href, which denotes the location of that particular file. So this is going to be found in CSS, and after that we can go ahead and get our style.css like that. And if I go ahead, save this page and go back to my browser to refresh that page, the changes should be coming in right now. And as you can see, that's really coming in, okay? So the background changed, and then the background of the container, which is this part, now is now located at the uppermost part of the page and then to the left. So if I want to carry this to the center of the page, what I should do is to include that margin that I was just talking about. Okay, so if I go back here and I see a margin, and I go ahead and set that to auto. If I save right now, you're going to see that it's going to push that content to the center of that page. Okay, and as you can see, that pushes over to the center of the page. And let's go ahead and do a couple of more other things that we can do right now. All right, so now that we push that to the center, what I want to do next is to make sure that I really carry this particular container a little bit down, that is to the center of the web page right here, somewhere around this place. Okay, so and to do that, let's use margin top. So if I say margin dash top, and we'll go ahead and set it to something like 150 pixels. Let's save that and see how far that is going to move down. So if we refresh this page, and you notice that that moves down to the almost to the center of the web page, and you can increase that particular percentage or pixels. Okay, I'm going to just leave my at 150 pixels right there. And the next thing that I want to do right now is to set, go ahead and set the padding. So I'm going to set the padding around that to be equal to, let's say 12 pixels. And the next thing I want to do now is to go ahead and set the border radius. So I want it to curve a little bit. So it's going to be border radius, and that's going to be set to be equal to 20 pixels. And if I save now, and let's check that out, and that is getting together. So with border radius, we curve this edges, and that is just that. So let's take a look at let's go ahead and start this h1 right now. And to do it is really very simple. We can just go ahead and first of all take this. I'm going to need that, so that's going to be within the container, and we need to kind of grab onto the h1. And the first thing that I want to do right now is to set the text alignment to center. So I'm going to just say center right there. And on the next line, what I want to do is to set the color. So let's say that the color is going to be, let's call that navy, and let's set padding to that. Let's say that the padding is going to be equal to 12 pixels. This is going to be 12 pixels. And that is just that for the H1. The next thing that I would like to work on now would be the, what is it called? The form itself. And to work on the form, what you really need to do right now is to, first of all, make sure that you grab onto the container. So I'm going to just say .container right there. And I'm going to just grab onto the form. And what I want to work on right now will be the inputs. So I'm going to just say input. And within this input right now, the first thing that I want to do right now on the input is to go ahead and set a padding to the input. So the padding I'm going to set around it is going to be, let's say 10 pixels. And on the next thing is going to be the margin. So let's go ahead and say that the margin is going to still be 10 pixels like that. And I'm going to go ahead and set a width for that particular form. And let's say that the width of this form is going to be 98%. So set it to 98%. And the next thing I need to do is to, let's go ahead and then display it as block level element. So this is going to be called a block. That's going to be called block right there. And then that is just that. Let's go ahead and also add a font size to that. So let's say that the font size is going to go ahead and be not font family but font size. So this is going to be let's say we set that to be 1 EM, and that is it. That's just what we want to do on the form right now. The next thing, probably still on the form, is going to be to work on the submit button. Okay, well, let's decorate that submit button a little bit. And to do that, if we go ahead and then, if we go into the form like this, and we go into the input, and what we want to do right now is to grab onto the submit button only. So to do that, the syntax is going to look a little bit different. So I'm going to just include a square bracket right here with quotation, and we can go ahead. Even if we don't want to include the quotation, I think it should be let me just say type right here, and I'm going to go ahead and set that to be equal to, let's say we should call that submit. That's what we're working on right now. This should be called submit. Okay. Yeah. So that is just how it should be. And whatever we do within this place will be affecting only the submit button. Alright. So let's go ahead and change the background right now. So let's say that the background color is going to be equal to green. So let's say green right there. And the next thing that we want to do right now is to go ahead and work on let's say we change the color right now. So the color of the submit button is going to be equal to, let's set that to white. And after that, we can go ahead and work on the border. So let's say we take away the border. So the border is going to be none to take away the border. And we can go ahead and set something like a border radius to that place so that it will look curvy. And let's go ahead and say something like, let's say that the border radius is going to be 20 pixels like that. And let's go ahead and save this and see how that is looking so far. So if we save this and go back to our browser, if you refresh, and that is looking almost like the same way the original one was looking. Okay, that's really beautiful. And if you have gotten that up to this point, congratulations. And yeah, so let's move on. The next thing that we're going to do now is to work on this particular submit button, the hover effect. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is to work on the hover effect, this submit button, so that when you bring your button, the mouse button to it, some effect will take place. And we'll do that right away. And let's go ahead and copy this. Let's say we'll copy this, paste it right down here. And what I want to add now is to add colon here. Then I'm going to just say hover like that, colon, then hover. And we can go ahead and change the background. Let's take off these ones. Take this away and leave only the hover, the background color. So let's say that the background color is going to be olive this time around. So I'm going to take this away and say olive, just like that. And we can also change the pointer. So let's say the cursor. So this is going to be cursor, and we'll go ahead and set that to pointer like that. And let's save this. We could come back to it later to add just one more thing. But for now, let's go and refresh and see whether the effect is going to take place. So let's refresh this page. Alright, so that I refreshed. And if we bring our mouse cursor to this, so it changes background and just like that. So that's just what this particular fill line does. Talking about this place, that's what it does. Alright, so let's close this out for now. We could open it later to add just one more thing. Alright, but for now, let's go back to our index page, where we have to work on this form so that once we click on this submit button and something should happen. Okay, so that's just what we're going to do now. So we go back to the index page, and at the very top of this page let's go ahead and throw in our PHP tag right there. So I'm going to just say PHP and the PHP tag right here. Alright, so the name of the form is called a top-up. Let's get that copied. We'll go up to the PHP tag of the thing. So if I say if is set, and this is, we're going to use super global variable called post, and within this square brackets we're going to go ahead and pass in that which we copied, which is the name of the form. And within this place, what we're going to do first of all is to collect the data. So but first of all, before we do that, let's make sure that that file is getting submitted. So if I echo something like let's say topped up like that and save, and if I go back to the form, let me refresh this page, and if I click on submit, I should get topped up right here. So that means that the form is getting submitted. So the next thing that we need to do, let's take this away, is to create a variable that is going to hold the amount first. So amount is equal to, let's say we go ahead and use super global variable again, which is post, and this time around the name for the amount is called amount. So we're going to enter amount right here, and I'm not going to just leave this like this. I'm going to try to wrap this up with some security functions. So I'm going to use first of all, let me use HTML special Charles like that, and I'll use it to wrap around this particular variable, super global variable. And I think it's also a good thing to wrap it with something like a trim function, so that if there are white spaces, it can go ahead and then cut off such white spaces. So this, I'm going to use trim and then special HTML special Charles to kind of protect that. So let me copy this line and paste it on the next one, and we'll go ahead and modify that for the next thing that we want to do. So the second one is going to be called a phone. So let's go ahead and type phone right here, and within this place is going to be called I think we'll call that phone number. Okay, we'll call it number. So I'm going to go ahead and enter number right here, and that is it for the two things that we want to kind of capture. Okay, all right. So the next thing that we would like to do right now is to go ahead and check if these two things, if there are nothing, if they don't contain any data, we don't want to submit the form. Okay, but if they really contain some things, people typed in something talking about these form fields, talking about these two fields, if people type in two things on this place, we can go ahead and then submit the form. That's what we're going to do now. And to check for that is really very simple. We're going to use if statement. So I'm going to just say if. We're going to use if and then a function called the empty. If not empty, let's say amount will be the first one that we want to check, and not empty, and the next one is number or phone. Okay, the variable here is phone, so we're going to just say phone. What do you want to do if they are not empty? So what I want to do if they are not empty is to go ahead and then integrate let's say integrate Flutterwave Airtime API here. So I'm going to go ahead and then integrate the API down here. Okay, but first of all, now what we're trying to do here right now is that we're checking that if that is something. I'm saying if not empty amount and if not empty phone, then we'll go ahead and then do something. This means that if amount and phone are filled in, what do you want to do? We want to go ahead and run the code right here. Okay, but if really people did not fill in anything, if these two things did not contain any data, what do you want to do? We need to look for a way to report to the user that they have to fill in the two things. So let's do something up here right now. We're going to make use of these two variables that is called amount, and I'm going to set that to, of course it's going to be set to nothing like that. But I can go ahead and also set other ones right here. So I'm going to also set, let me say that the phone is also equal to the same empty string. And if I want to show people some error, I can also add the variable right here. So I'm going to just say error, and we'll set that to that empty string. Okay, so that in that case, when you first load the page and you don't have anything on this variable, they are not going to report any error initially. Okay, they won't report any errors initially. So the thing that we're going to do right now is to go ahead and see a way to display the errors that these things are going to come up with. However, this particular if statement now need an else part, which we are going to use to display the error. Okay, so I'm going to just add an else part right here, and that is going to help us display the error. So I'm going to go ahead on this else part, go ahead and then I put the message, the error message that I want to show the user right away right there. So I'm going to just say I'll pick this particular variable that I created up here, and I'm going to go ahead and fill it with a message. So let this be a variable error, and I'm going to go ahead and say something right here. So let's say both amount and phone number must not be empty. Okay, let's go ahead and terminate this line. And if we want to, let's find a place to display this error, because the way that it is now, it's not going to automatically display the error. For instance, let's refresh this page right now, and if I click on submit, you notice that there is no place to display the error to us. So for us to display the error right now, I'm going to copy this variable, and under this my h1, let me go ahead and create a span right here, which I'm going to just say span ID, and I'll go ahead and call that error, and maybe errors, something of that nature. And then within this place, in fact, let me first of all close my span right here like that, and within the span, let me throw in my PHP tag, and let's say we'll go ahead and echo out that error variable that I copied. So let's terminate and then close our PHP tag right here. Okay, and if I go ahead, refresh this web page and hit submit, it's going to try to print out the error for me. Okay, this is the error now because these two fields are empty. And if, let's say for instance, these fields are filled like that, and we try to hit submit, you notice that that error will be gone because it is not filled. But it is not filled. You click submit, it shows you this error. So let's go to our CSS and make this error red right now. So to do that, let's open our CSS again, and down here, let's go ahead and then call that particular ID, which I call the errors. And let's go ahead and then let's say that the color is going to be set to red, and then maybe the font size or thereabout. Let me just leave this as is right now. Let me save this, and if we go back and refresh this web page, then we try to submit this form without filling out the field, and it seems like okay, maybe we mistyped. Oh, this is supposed to be errors, not just error. Let's put an S right there, and if we save that, go back and refresh again, and if you hit submit, all right, maybe we should clear the cache. So let's go ahead and clear this cache right now, and if we hit continue, we should have that in red color right now. So I just cleared the cache. Okay, so just know that this is the what is it called? This is the ID that we created on the index page, which is right here. Where is it? Right here. Okay, so we just tied it with our CSS, and I think that's all we need within the CSS. So I'm going to close that out, and we may never return to that place until the end of this tutorial. All right, so that is working just the way we want it to be. And let's go to the documentation right now. So if you have your internet connection right now, you need to go to developer.flutterwave.com/reference. Okay, that is where I am right now. And let's go ahead and then look for the documentation that is going to help us create that SMS app. I mean the Airtime app. So if you scroll down from the left hand side of your screen, you should be able to find a place that talks about Airtime bills or bills. Okay, so let's look for bills, and that is it right here. So we get bills right here. Okay, if you can go to the place that says get bill categories to see all of the bills that are available. Okay, by clicking on get bill categories. Okay, so once you click on get bill categories, it's going to take you to this place where you have to go ahead and then I think I made a mistake. It should be this, yeah, get bills. So once you click on get bills, it's going to take you to this place where you will get the categories of bills that you want. Okay, that's definitely going to help you to kind of get what you want. But what we want to do right now is that I want to go ahead and then see how is it that we're going to integrate the Airtime bill part of it. That is what we want to do. All right, so you can take your time to find out all of the types of bills that we have. As you can see, we have Airtime bills, which is what we're going to work on right now, and we have data bundle, we have power, that's for electricity, and we have internet bills, we have quite a lot of bills that one can really work, or even two, bill like code and all this, even cables. Okay, those are the bills that one can really work on if you wish to. But the one that I really want us to work on is just what is it called, the it is called the airtime bills. Okay, that's what I want us to look at right now. And then to do that, I don't have to bother myself going to get bill categories or validate bill services. So what I want to do is to go to this create a bill payment. Okay, and if you look at this place, it says post, which means we are to send everything as a post request. So we're going to make a post request to create this bill. First of all, let me click on it. Click on a create bill, and it's going to take us to this place. All right, and if you look at here, that is still post, and this is the URL or the endpoint to the bills that we want to create. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and if I go back to my development environment, what I want to do right now is to, let me scroll up a little bit. All right, so underneath this place, what we're going to do right now, let me create a variable right here, which I'm going to just call endpoint, and let's go ahead and then within quotation, it can be single or double, let's go ahead and paste that URL that we just copied. So this is the URL or the endpoint to the application we want to create. Then the next thing that we need to do now is to create the post data. And to create the post data, let's take a look at this place. So what we want to do right now is going to require a country. So these are the requirements. They call that a body params. Okay, so this is going to need a country, which in my own case, this is going to be just NG. And if you are in Kenya, United States, or any other part of the world, you should be able to use your own initial right here. So I'm going to use NG as my own initial right here. Okay, because I'm really coming from Nigeria, or creating this as a Nigerian. And then after that, we're going to need a customer. If you look at it, we need a customer. After we have identified the country where we're coming from, we should also be able to create what is it called, a customer. And the customer basically is just going to need a phone number right here. Okay, that is just what that is going to be. So the customer here is just a phone number. So that's the field where you have to add the phone number. And after that, we should also need what we call amount, which is the amount of a recharge card that the person wants to purchase at the particular point in time. So we need that. And if it is going to be recurrence, we are going to also need that to put that right here. But mine is going to be just one time. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and add once under this place that says recurrence. And then the next thing that we need, this is not compulsory. Okay, you can skip this. This is not compulsory at all. And if you move down, we're going to see type, which is the type of bill that you are creating the app or that you are selling. In my own case, this is going to be airtime. If it is data bundle power, you can go ahead and then change this to power or data bundle. But mine is going to be strictly airtime. So I'm going to go ahead and then add airtime against what? Against type right here. Okay, and after that is going to be the reference, which is just unique series of characters that we can create to make sure that every transaction is unique. That's what this is going to be. And then there is biller, a name, and then the rest of that, which you don't need to really bother yourself. This is not compulsory. Okay, all right, so we are going to create an array that is going to represent all the things that we need from this place right now. So let's go back to our coding environment, and I'm going to create an array. First of all, let me create a variable right here that I'm going to call the post data, and I'm going to go ahead, I will say array, and then within this array right now, the first thing that I need, let me terminate this line before I forget. So within this place, I'm going to need, first thing is going to be country. So I'm going to just type the key. The key is going to be country. This is going to be country, and I'm going to set that with an arrow, just like that, and that is going to be NG. I've already shown you that. And then on the next line, we're going to have to create a customer. So I'm going to just say customer, and let's say that the value for the customer is going to be the phone number. This time around, instead of typing a static phone number right here, what I'm going to do is to go ahead and copy the phone number variable so that can be coming in dynamically. So I'm going to copy this variable right here and then place it right here. So that is the next field. And after that, let's go ahead and get the amount. So the key is going to be amount, and once I get out of that place, I'm going to go ahead and bring this variable for the amount so that the amount will also be coming in dynamically. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the amount right here. And yeah, so after the amount, let's go ahead and determine whether this is going to be recurrence or whether it's going to be just once. So I'm going to just say recur. It's going to be what? Recurrence. And I hope I typed recurrence correctly. Let's take a look at that. This is recurrence. That's supposed to be 1C. So I'm going to take away 1C right there. So this is going to be called a recurrence. Okay. And for the recurrence, I'm going to go ahead and set this to once. So it's going to be in quotation right there. So I'm going to just say once. And yeah, so once. And then the next thing that we need is to go ahead and then create a type. So this is going to be type, and the type is Airtime. So we'll go ahead and set that to Airtime. And then finally, we need to now go ahead and then set the reference. And to set the reference is really very simple. So we're going to just say reference right here. And we can go ahead and then, let's say we go ahead and then maybe we can do something like, we can put series of character right here, like that. But anytime we make payment with this particular one, we're going to notice that this one will expire. So we're going to need to kind of generate another one again. And if you keep on doing that manually, that's going to really take a lot of time. So what I finally decided to do is to go ahead and then use a function in PHP to always do that. And that function is called a unique ID. And without wasting much time, let's scroll up a bit and see how we can test that. So if, let's say we echo out a function that is called a unique, ID, like that, and let's see what that is going to give us. So if we save this page right now and we'll go back to our browser, let's go to our application. Let's refresh this page. All right, so if you look up here, you see that there is a series of characters that has been produced, and that is coming from this particular place. Okay, so if you refresh that again, you're going to see that it's still going to change. You see that changes. See this place, it's changed. So if we refresh again, it's still going to change. So this is how we're going to be generating different what is it called, reference keys with that particular function called a unique ID. So I'm going to take this away. So I'll take that. Let me just cut this and then delete this. So that's what we're going to go ahead and then put it right here. Okay, so we're going to have to leave this like this. And if you want that to be long enough, you can add, let's say you concatenate onto it and then add another, just the same function again. Okay, just concatenate onto that, and that will make it longer enough. So let me just leave it like that. And yeah, so the next thing that we're going to do now, all right, so we're going to go ahead now and create a call to our endpoint using our CURL. And to do that is really very simple. You could go to the documentation, and then if you click on it's possible that is a place where you can copy this from here. So let's say, for instance, you want to copy their own code. You can go to PHP, since we're working on PHP right now. So if you click on this PHP, it should be able to display the code for you, and then you get that copied and then make use of it. But I'm going to go ahead and do it my own way, so I don't have to copy their own code. So let's go back and then see how is it that we can do that. And to do it right now, I'm going to first of all to initiate my own coil. So I'm going to create a variable that I'm going to call ch, and I'm going to go ahead and use a function called curl underscore init. And what that is going to do is to go ahead and then initiate my curl right there for me. And after that, we need to set a couple of configurations. And to do that in coil, we use a function called curl underscore setup. That is coil underscore setup. So I'm going to just say curl underscore setup, and of course it's a function. So this is where we're going to be setting our configuration. The first thing that it needs is this particular variable right up here. That's the variable that we use to initiate the coil. So I'm going to just say ch. That will be the first parameter. And after that, we're going to need a constant that's going to help us configure this particular thing that we're working on right now. And the configuration, the first configuration I want to set right now is to make sure that I put this particular endpoint, set it to be on. And if I want to do that, it's really very simple. So I'm going to use a constant called the curl opt. So that is call opt underscore URL, like that. And I'm going to introduce a comma right here. And finally, I'm going to make use of this variable. So I'll copy this variable right here. And then I'll go ahead and introduce that right here. Okay. And that is it to setting that particular line. So I'm going to copy that and modify it for the rest of the configurations that I'm going to be doing. So I'll paste that right here. And the next thing that I want to set right now is to go ahead and then make sure that I set the post method. Make sure that this is a post method, and to do that, this is going to be call opt underscore post. So I'm going to change this to post so that everything will be secure. And what do I need for the post? I'm going to need to set that to true right here. So you could type the word true like that, but I'm going to go ahead and put 1. 1 means true, so it has 2 Boolean values. It has 0 and 1. 0 means false and 1 means true. So that is that. And then the next one that I want to set right now is to go ahead and configure the post data right here. I'm talking about all of these things that are coming in right here. We're going to go ahead and then kind of set them down here. So to configure that post variable that is coming in with a lot of data, what we're going to do right now, let me go ahead and paste what I have copied, and I'm going to go ahead and then take away this. I don't need this. And the next thing that I need to take away now is going to be this URL is going to go off. And what I need right here is to go ahead and then set the post fields. So this is good. The constant is going to be post fields like that, and I hope I spelled that right. So this is call opt underscore post fields, comma, and the next thing that I need right now is to pass in a function that is called a JSON underscore encode, to make sure that everything is being encoded like what is it called? It's going to be encoded, and then to make sure that everything is being encoded as an array right there. So I'm going to pass in this function called JSON underscore encode, and remember that that is a function. So I'm going to pass in the parentheses right here. All right, to make sure that I encode that as an array, so I'm going to go ahead and pass in the variable that contains those data that we're working on right now, which is this. So I'm going to copy this and paste it right here. Okay, so I get that in place right now. So the next thing that I'm going to do right now, let me copy this line again, copy that, and then on the next line I'm going to paste that, and I'll change a couple of things. Of course, we need this ch and we need call opt, and the next thing that we need to set right now is to change this. So instead of this, which will have a post right here, this is going to be called a return transfer. So we're going to say return transfer. Okay, so that's going to be call opt underscore return transfer, and we'll go ahead and set that to true or 1, just like it is. So let's set this one to true. And the next thing that we need right now is to go ahead and set the timeout. So I'm going to paste what I copied earlier, and of course we still need this. And to set the timeout, what I'm going to do right now is, once I say call opt underscore, the next thing is going to be connect timeout. So I'm going to just type connect timeout like that. So this is connect timeout, and for the connect timeout, this is just talking about how many seconds you want the script to wait before it terminates. That is just what that is talking about. So I'm going to set that to 200, and 200 means that it has to wait about 20 seconds, okay, before it times out. Otherwise, if you put a 0 here, it means that you want it to wait to infinity. That's what that means. So that is just that for that line. And the next thing that I want to set right now is to go ahead and then kind of configure my header. That is where I will have to bring in my authorization and then set the content type. And to do that is really very also simple. So let me scroll up so that you guys can see the next part. So let's say, for instance, we just say something like a set the headers from the, let's say, from the endpoint right there. And to set it, I'm going to paste what I copied earlier right there. And what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and change this constant. So what I need on this constant right now is not going to be post. So I'm going to go ahead and need what we call HTTP header. That will be the next thing that I need right now. And I'm going to have a comma right there. And after that, I would like to put those headers in an array. So for that reason, I'm going to take away this one and say array, like that. And of course, that's the function. So within this place right now, this is where I'm going to go ahead and set my configurations. So the first thing that I need is the authorization bearer. And if you don't know what the authorization bearer is, that's just your API key. So that's where you need to set your API key. So I'm going to just say authorization. This is how to set it. So I'll put a column here. I'm going to go ahead and type the word bearer, like that. And I'm going to go ahead and get my API key right now and paste it right here. Okay, so let's go and get that together. So if you go to your dashboard, make sure you are logged in. If you are logged in right now, you need to just scroll down to the bottom of this page. I mean, this particular right hand scroll button, click on settings, and once that page opens, the next thing that you need to do right now is to go ahead and click on API. Alright, so once you click on this tab called API and it's loaded, you can now go ahead and copy your API keys right here. So the first one here says public key, and people keep asking me the difference between these keys that we have right here. You see, if you're using something like JavaScript to create your application, you can go ahead and make use of public key. This is the one that people are allowed to see, and they won't be able to do any harm to your system. Okay, but if you are using something like PHP, you need to make use of this one that says secret key. So this is the one that people should never see. And I want you guys not to use my own keys. I know that you guys are seeing, and that's probably because I don't really use this account. I have a separate account that I use for my transactions. Okay, so don't you make use of my own. If you want to experience all the integration process by yourself, all the experiences, you need to make use of this secret key. For people that are using any backend programming language like PHP, Python, Node.js. So we're going to go ahead and copy this. So I'm going to click on this copy key, and you see I get copied. So once I go back to my development environment, I can go ahead and paste it right here. So this is my own key. Make sure you use yours, don't use mine. I don't want to be receiving any notification from your transactions, please. Alright, so that's it. I'm going to introduce a comma right here, and the next thing that I want to set right now is going to be the, what is it called, the content type. So I'm going to just say right here, I'm going to just say content dash type, and we can go ahead, let's make this capital. So let's go ahead and set that to application /JSON, and the next one that I want to set right now is going to be the catch. So I'm going to just say catch dash, this should be in quote, please. So this is going to be catch dash control, and we'll go ahead and set that to be equal to no catch, just like that. And that's the last thing that we need right here. So we don't need to introduce a comma right here. And there's one thing that I forgot to do right up here. So there are some scripts that may not, some browsers or server that don't really understand this connect timeout. So we're going to copy this and duplicate it right here. So instead of saying connect timeout, what I'm going to do right now is to take that connect timeout away and just leave it at timeout. So I'm going to take this away, and this is now what? Timeout. So there are some servers that understand this one. So we're going to make sure that we include that right there. Okay. So that is just that. We've already set our configurations right here for the header, and let's move on to the next thing that we need to do right now. So let's say, for instance, we want to go ahead and execute this coil, this particular coil right here. We want to execute it. Let's do that down here, and to do it is really very simple. We can put it in a variable. Let's say we create a variable that we're going to call request, and we go ahead and then use a function called a curl underscore exec. So this is going to be exec, like that. And so this is call up underscore exec, and we're going to pass in this particular variable that we use to initialize it. So this is going to be ch right here, and let's terminate this line. And then the next thing that we want to do right now is to go ahead and convert everything that's coming out from this place, because they are coming out as an array. Since we have executed that, all the results will come back as JSON array. Okay, so to convert it to something like JSON object, we need to do something right here with JSON underscore decode function. So I'm going to create a variable that I'm going to call let's say we'll call this results, and let's go ahead and pass in the what is it called, the function called the JSON underscore decode, and within this parentheses we're going to go ahead and pass in this request. So I'm going to copy request and paste it right here like that, and yeah, so that is it. So if we want to print out what we have on the screen for us to see right now, we can use a var dump to do that, or something like a print r. So let me go ahead and use something like print r function right here. So it's going to be print underscore r, and we'll go ahead and pass in the request. We can make use of this request. So let's put that right here, and so let's terminate this line, and we could go ahead and close our call if we wish, but let's just leave that open for now. And let's save this, and if we go back to our browser right now and we'll try to give that a shot. So if we try to give that a shot right now, and I guess we should get an error about the SSL certificate or something of that nature. Okay, apart from that, we have an error right here on line 18, unexpected semicolon, and it was expecting this. Okay, so let's go to line 18 from our script, and this is line 18. Okay, so this, we need to take this away. We don't need to terminate that line right there. Okay, so that's the last key that we need on that array, so we don't really need that. So save this, and if we go back to our browser, we should be able to have solved that particular error right now, and that error is gone. So let's try, let me use a function called a var dump. So we're going to use a var dump function right here, and we're going to pass in this particular variable called result. So this is going to be result, and we terminate this line. And if we go back to our browser right now and try to make this happen, so we're going to see that something is going to happen. So let's refresh this page first of all, and if I fill out this form, let's say I want to purchase 15 naira to this particular phone number, and if I hit on top up now, we should get an error up here. We should get an error, and as you can see, the error says no. Okay, and this is coming from checking for SSL. So this application or this API is configured in such a way that you should always check for SSL certificates on your browser before it can go ahead and then access the API itself. So we get no because we did not configure the SSL certificate correctly. Now, some people may tell you to just go ahead and install an SSL certificate to your browser, but there is another way to do this without having to install an SSL certificate. In fact, let's go to our application, and if we go up to this place where we initiated our call, I'm going to go ahead and paste one line right there right now, and this is this line. Okay, so I just paste this right now. This is call up, this is call underscore setup ch call up underscore SSL underscore verify peer, and we are going to go ahead and set that to 0 because we don't want it to force over to SSL. If you set it to 1, it means you want it to check for SSL, but if you set it to 0, it means you don't want it to bother checking for SSL. You just want to test. Okay, so that's just going to do it for us. It's not going to force us over to HTTP anymore. So let's save this, and if we go back to our browser right now and we refresh this page, and if we test this application again, you should be able to get the response from the API. So I'm going to click top up now, and we still have a null. Why is that coming as null? And okay, we configured this to be, and we have this from Flutterwave. So if you look at the code, this is what is returning from Flutterwave right now, and it should be happy right now for we are able to test the application without having to install SSL certificates. Okay, at this point, if this tutorial really interests you, I want you to go ahead and click the like button, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, you should go ahead and do that now. Okay, all right, so the status says that we have an error right here, and then the message says what? That we have an insufficient fund in our wallet, and that is because we are on a test mode right now, or maybe we do not have enough money on our wallet. But I'd like you to understand that if you are on a test mode, just like I'm in right now, if you go back to our dashboard and you look over here right now, it says switch to live mode. That means I'm on test mode right now. So look at this place. It says you are currently in test mode, but once you switch to live mode and you have some money within your account, instead of redirecting you to that particular message, it's going to go ahead and top up that particular phone number with that amount. Okay, so without wasting much time, what we need to do right now is to create the failed page and then the success page for us to correctly redirect our application. All right, so let's say that you want to access all these messages, this particular message, and then the status of the transaction. The way that you can access that is you can do that right here. So let me go ahead and then maybe down here. Let's say we want to access the status right now. We can get it from this result, and to do that is really very simple. We're going to say let's set a variable that we're going to call status, and we can go ahead and set that to be equal to, we'll first of all grab this result variable, and we're going to have to set that to be with an arrow like this, because we've already converted that to JSON object. So we can go ahead and enter status right here, and that line alone is going to fetch this particular status. Let me show you that. It's going to fetch this status for us. This is status, and it's going to get this for us. And if you want to work on the message, you probably already know what to do. You can get this particular message right here. So let's say we want to grab that message. So down here, let's create a variable that we'll call message, like that, and we can go ahead and say result. Let's say result, and with an arrow again, we can go ahead and say message, just like that, and then we'll get the message. In fact, if I echo that out, I should be able to see that in my browser. So let me just say echo, and on this one, you should also say echo. Should be able to see those two things right now if we refresh on our browser. All right, so if we go ahead and refresh this page, click continue, I should be able to get the message back for us. All right, so as you can see, we have that status printed right here, and we'll have the message also printed right here. So we can really print this anywhere that we want it to display. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. The only thing that may be a little bit confusing is to print the things that are going to come under this data. Okay, so we have null right now because we have the status to be set to error. That's what we have in null. But if we have this to be set to success, we're going to see that this place will be filled up with quite a lot of data, and that is only when I switch to live mode and then top up my account with them. Okay, but for now, let's move on with the application. So what I want to do right now is to go ahead and show you this. So let's also even print out the reference, kind of pick the reference right here. So I'm going to just say ref, and let's say that the ref is going to be, let's say this is going to be result, and we'll go ahead and set that to be equal to, of course, the reference is going to be under the data. I'm talking about this place, but it's not showing right now. That's because I'm not on the live mode. So you need to access the data first before you access anything like the reference, the phone number, the amount. Okay, so that is what you should do if you want to access the phone number, the amount, and the likes. So I'm going to first of all pick data, and I'll go ahead and set that to reference, like that. And under this place right now, remember that I said that this particular status right now has two values. One is error and one is success. So let us assume that we have success in this place. The way that we can check that or make use of it is to, let's use if statements. So if we say if, so within this if statement or within this bracket, we're going to say if status, which is a variable that we have up there, is equal to, let's say it is equal to success. What do we want to do within this place now? So a typical thing to do is to go ahead and redirect. So if the status, what is in the status? I'm talking about this place right now. If it is success, where do you want to redirect your customers to? So I would like to redirect them to the success page. So in that case, I'm going to just say header, which is a function in PHP for redirection. So I'm going to just say location. And I'm going to go ahead and set them to success.php, which is a file we've created, and we can go ahead and pass on the reference on it. So if I say reference, like that, and we can go ahead and say, let's concatenate onto the reference right now and say this particular variable that we have up here, we're going to go ahead and put it right there. So let's say dot, sorry about that, and I'm just trying to, alright, so this is going to be ref, like that, and we should go ahead and terminate this line. Okay, and if we want to have an else path for this, in case it is an error, instead of success that we're assuming that it is here, if it is an error, we want to redirect to the error page. So we can do that right here. So we can say else, and we can copy this. Let's copy this right away and paste it right here. And this is going to be send that to this particular place called fail. So this is going to be fail.php, and then the reference right now. So let's pass in, instead of reference right here, let's pass in error right there, and then we can go ahead and pass in the message so that it will tell us what is really wrong. So this is going to be message variable right there, talking about this message. And I'm going to take away all this echo right now. I think I don't need that anymore. So let's take away echo, and yeah, so that is just how we should redirect that, and we should kind of enter exit down here in case you are going to use it online. I don't want that to report any error to you, so we can just add exit down here. So that is it. So what do we want to do right now? If we test this application again, it should be able to try to redirect us to the error page this time around. So let's say we try, and for the phone number again, let's click on top up. We should be able to be taken to the error page, and if you look at this very well, it attempted to take us to the error page. If you look at it, so we are taken to the error page, but we do not have anything on the error page, so we're going to create the error now. So what I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and let me copy this page and then go ahead and paste it on the error page. I want to go ahead and paste it right here, and I will modify what is the content. Alright, so on this page, let's go ahead and paste what we copied, and what we're going to do right now is to take away this PHP, this code right here. I'm going to take that away and write a new one. So this should go off, and on this place, what we need here, I think we basically need just the H1. We're going to need the H1, so but we're going to take away this error and also take away this form right there, and yeah, that's basically what we need. And what I want to output right here is just going to be, let me just say error, so we can go ahead and just say error right here. And the next thing that I want to do right now is underneath this place, let me create a variable, a paragraph, which I'm going to just give that an ID that is going to be equal to errors, like that. And I remember, and I believe that you guys know when I already created that particular ID somewhere. So I hope you guys remember. So it's going to just turn that to red. Okay, so that is just that. But up here, I'm going to go ahead and put a PHP stuff right. Let me do that right away. So let's say we're going to output something here. So I'm going to put PHP echo. Let's say we're going to call that fail. And let's close our PHP tag right here. And if we scroll up to this place, you remember that on our browser right here. So remember that on our browser right here, we do have something on the URL that is called error, and this is really not correct. I think we are supposed to have some series of a character right here. So we're going to correct that in a moment, but just know that we have this on the URL. So we need to grab onto that within our PHP on the field page. So to get something from the URL on PHP, we need to make use of a get super global variable. And to do that is really very simple. So what I'm going to do now is to use if statement. So I'm going to say if is set, this is going to be $_get. And within this place, what I need right now is to pass in that error that is on the URL, talking about this error. So I'm going to pass in this error that is on the URL right there. And Yeah, so that is that. So within this curly bracket, what I need to do is to set the variable that I have already set displayed up here, which is fail. So I'm going to just say fail, and I'm going to go ahead and say let's protect this with HTML special chars again, and we can go ahead and pass in that variable, super global variable get, and we can go ahead and pass in error again right here. And that is, with that, we've really grabbed whatever that is on the URL. Okay, so if we go ahead and refresh this page right now, we may not see the message that we are supposed to see right here, but however, let's go back to our index and correct that, and that should be coming from this place. I think we should bridge this space that is here right now. So if we bridge this space and we go back to our browser, let's go back to the home page again, and let's try this transaction again. So that should be able to display a message to us. Click on top up. If that goes through, it should redirect to the fail page, and we still have error here. We do not have maybe there is no service right now, but I think we are really supposed to have that. So maybe there is no service, but we are supposed to pass that on through the URL. Okay, we're supposed to pass that. I think we should just keep trying until we get that in place. So we need to see that message. We need to see it right there. And congratulations, as you can see, it now passed that message through the URL. So the error was coming from our internet connection. So that message has been picked and it has been displayed right here. It said insufficient fund in your wallet. So whatever error that could be coming from the index page or whatever from the transaction, it's going to be automatically picked and be dropped on this place. Okay. All right, so the next thing that we need to do now is to go ahead and work on the success page. So I'm going to copy this and I'll open up the success page, and yeah, so let's open up the success page and we'll go ahead and paste what we have right here, and we can go ahead and modify. Okay, but before we do that, let's also check that index page, and this place where we say, so let's also bridge this space right here. So we'll save that on the index and we'll go back to the success.php page and let's work on it right now. So alright, so what we're going to do right now is to go ahead and change let's go ahead and change the reference. So this is going to be reference, and on the URL, of course, what we're going to have on the reference on the URL is still going to be reference like that, and also we need reference right here. And then down here, instead of error, we're not going to have error right here. So what we're going to have is success. So let's just type success, and then down here we're going to go ahead. We may not need this ID, so let's take away the ID. Let it just be ordinary message, and we can go ahead and we can say something like so let's go ahead and let's take away on this place. Let's say you have been successfully credited. Okay, so the reference to your transaction is, and is what is in the variable right here. So this time around, this is going to be reference instead of fail. So this, we're going to just type the reference variable right there, and that is how it should be. Okay, so if you guys and that is just how it should be. Okay, so understand that this is how the index page is going to look right now. All right, so this is how the index page, the success page is going to look right now. Okay, so if the transaction goes through, of course we should have on the status to be set to success. But if there is any error, it's going to redirect to this place. And if you don't have, if you are still on a test mode, it will always have to redirect you to this page. So once you change to live mode, what you need to do is to come to this place. You change to live mode, we are going to copy your live credential and put it right here. Okay, the live secret key, that's what we are going to put here. And then once you put that here, and you top up your account on a Flutterwave. So if you go to Flutterwave and then go ahead and top up your account, if you want to top up your account, you can go to balance. If you click on this balance, it will take you to this particular place that we are in right now. Alright, so once you are on this particular tab right now, balance, you can go ahead and click on top up. So you click on top up and then go ahead and then top up your account from this form. And if you top that up on, you can come to this place. Make sure before you even top up, make sure you switch to live mode. So change from this place to live mode, and then every transaction that you're going to be doing, as long as you have a status to be set to what is it called, if it is set to success, it's going to redirect you to the success page of our application instead of this page that is showing right now. Okay, so that is it. I'm going to stop here. There will be no need for me to try to switch to live mode and then do the testing again. Just do that. If you have any error, you can send me a message. My email is thelordofapps@gmail.com, and I will respond to you from there. Okay, and if you like this video, just go ahead and give me a thumb up, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, you should go ahead and subscribe now, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.